Hi everyone, it's been a little while since I posted an episode of Indie Bites. So I sort of wanted to come on and discuss what's been going on with me, what I've learnt about myself, and just chat with you so you're filled in with everything, and hopefully this might help out some other people. I've also got 8 or 9 episodes of Indie Bites pre-recorded before all this happened. So don't worry, there are more episodes coming. So I put a tweet out a couple of weeks ago because it had been radio silence for a few weeks before that, with people not really knowing why there's been no episodes, why I've not been doing any indie hacking or any projects. And I tweeted, I've been having a rough time at the moment and still trying to figure out what's going wrong. I've taken a few weeks off already, but still not right. Gonna have to take a few more weeks off and see how I feel. As for specifics, it's some sort of depression, burnout kind of thing. Can't motivate myself to do any work or anything really. Support from everyone I've spoken to thus far has been incredible, so thank you for that. And I'll say that the support has still been fantastic from absolutely everyone. Each individual person I've spoken to has been kind with their time, with their thoughts, with helping me get through whatever I'm going through at the moment. So that was on May the 6th. I've had another week or so off of doing any work. And it's been good because every single day I'm starting to feel a little bit better and understanding a little bit more about myself and how I ended up getting into this situation in the first place. So we've sort of pinpointed it's some sort of burnout for me, burnout or depression over the past 3 or 4 months doing work which I wasn't particularly enjoying or being fulfilled by. The worst thing was I didn't realise this at the time. When I was doing the work, I was telling myself it was all okay. Don't worry, James. If it's just a down day, you'll get back to it. And I'd sort of push through and push through and push through, while all the time the work that I was doing was beating down on me, demoralizing me to the point where I just had a couple of breakdowns and was in like the worst mental state of my life, because it all of that pressure that had been building up for the last few months all came to one moment where I sort of blew up and couldn't take any of that pressure anymore. And all of that pressure was released. I know I'm not the only one to feel like this. I know a lot of other people have been through a similar thing, especially with lockdowns across the world. Here in the UK, we're not in a lockdown at the moment, but we've slowly been sort of phasing out of our previous one, which was quite a long one, a really, really tough one for me and others. I'll take you back to November, which was the previous toughest time that I'd been through. I was working relatively long hours at a full-time job at this point, and I got the opportunity to make some YouTube videos for Riverside.fm. I thought it's a great opportunity. I could do the YouTube videos on the side of my job, and it would be a nice income for me. I've made YouTube videos for fun for years, so it was finally my time to get paid to do these videos. And it was about podcasting as well. I had this podcast, I used Riverside, they're growing nicely, and I thought this was going to be a really, really cool and good opportunity for me. So started making the videos. We actually were in another lockdown. We're in lockdown 2.0 at this point, and I made the huge mistake of never really leaving my flat and just trying to get on with all of the work. Now this extra work in November didn't work out for a number of reasons. It was sort of a combination of being in that lockdown and me not just taking care of myself in general, exercise, sleep, eating, but it was also completely overworking, 14, 15 hours a day, trying to make these videos work alongside a full-time job and the podcast. And so it was too much work, and Riverside were also being quite stringent with their changes, which I was getting frustrated by. So after a month, I thought, this isn't working out for me. I need to make a change. So I stopped doing the work with Riverside. They were great about it. They understood. We sort of left it open that I come back and make the YouTube videos if I was feeling better, if I figured stuff out. I'll say at this point, I didn't think it was any sort of mental health issues. I just thought, it's too much work. It's too much for me. I basically can't take on that much. Wasn't even considering much of a mental health thing at this point. So we did a little bit of reflection over Christmas and thought, I really want to make these YouTube videos. It's my dream job, making YouTube videos about podcasting that I can work on at any time. It was just deliverables based, 3 videos a week. I'd get paid well for it. So it just seemed like a win-win-win. but I didn't have enough time for it. So I decided to go part-time in my current job, and I'd start up the videos again in February. Had a chat with the guys at Riverside, and we went ahead and started making the videos again in February. It started out really well. We had a schedule in place to get the videos done, and I started enjoying it a lot more. We'd had some problems previously with the amount of comments that I was getting back, and the changes were just taking too long, and it would throw the schedule off course. So this time round, the comments I was getting back were fine and easy to do and easy to manage, so we were able to stick to the schedule. And then over time, it started to get a little bit worse. I won't get into too many specifics because I really do like Riverside. It was just the relationship wasn't working out as well as it should be. And that was partly me telling myself, James, you just got to motivate yourself. You just got to push through. But what was happening at this point is I was just sort of losing my autonomy and creativity. It was all just sort of building up over time. And then there was a specific Friday where I had a bit of a disagreement, and that was one of the worst days of my life. The expectations of me were way more than I thought was acceptable, should we say. So that was a horrible day. I had a breakdown that night. Luckily, my dad was down, so we had a chat and sort of family rallied around me, which was really awesome to see. And you know what, that Monday after the Friday, I thought, James, just go back, sort it out. You need the income. You need the income for this. You just sort it out like adults and put it behind you and move through. Again, I knew something that was wrong. I wasn't too sure if it was a specific mental health, depression or burnout challenge. I wasn't thinking that at that point. And then that Tuesday when I went to write the scripts, I really, really struggled. I couldn't motivate myself to do it. I couldn't physically start and write the scripts. I was thinking, what is going on here, James? Then sort of, and thought, I'll just take a break. I'll take a break for a few hours and I'll come back. I should feel better. And that was a horrible 2 hours of me just feeling upset, wondering why can't I motivate myself to do these scripts? Just get up and crack on with them. I was telling myself this the whole time. I was trying to be positive. I was trying to push through. And it turns out it's not really possible when you're burnt out or you're depressed. That is literally what it is. It means you can't force yourself to do it. You need to give yourself time. Again, didn't notice at that time. But what I did know is I needed some sort of break. I've been doing these videos for 3 months and 3 videos a week for 3 months alongside a part-time job and Indie Bites and whatever else I was doing was a lot. So I said, can I have a week off? And this would be a week off unpaid because I'm a contractor. That week was such a relief. I still didn't really know what was going on with myself, but it was nice knowing that I didn't have the burden or the pressure to get the videos done. And the plan was to come back that Tuesday after a week off, feeling refreshed and ready to go. Came back on Tuesday, tried to do the scripts again, almost had an identical repeat of the previous week, but a little bit worse, and I was feeling really, really bad then. Crying in bed thinking, why can't I do this work? That evening, I go to the pub with my friends Saba, Charlie and Tim. Saba and Tim from Veed, Charlie from Weekend Club. The first time I've been to the pub in, a year? Yeah, probably about a year. And it was a fantastic night because Saba and Tim have had awesome success with Veed, growing it. Charlie has been there for me the whole time, sponsoring the podcast, helping me out at Weekend Club, making me a Weekend Club host, and really bringing together a bunch of my closest friends now. I wouldn't have many of my friends if it wasn't for Charlie and also Saba and Tim, which I met at Indie Bites a few years ago. Indie Bites? Indie Beers. Sorry, Charlie. And during that conversation, Saba said that something similar had happened to one of his team members. But it was to do with making a lot of YouTube videos over an extended period of time and a complete drop-off in motivation and need some time off. And Saba identified it immediately and said, James, this is what you're going through. It's burnout. You need to take some time, however long it's going to take you, to try and get right, to take a break and to then figure out what you want to do after that. And so the next morning, after trying to get back to the work, I said, look, I'm going to have to take another few weeks off. And that was 1 or 2 weeks ago now. And I'm slowly starting to, figure out what the hell has happened. So what has actually caused this? and I've come to a number of conclusions which is making me feel better. I've been riding my motorbike a ton. I've been playing a bunch of tennis, seeing as much family as I can. My sister just had a baby and it's the cutest thing, so I'm enjoying being an uncle. There is the stress of knowing that I've got to pay my bills. I'm going to have a £2,000 deficit, basically, of money. Right now I've got my £1,000 overdraft, which will cover me for another half a month, and then my bills are going to start bouncing, and I know I've not got another paycheck coming. So over the next few weeks I really need to figure out how I'm going to make a little bit of money. If you want to support me, and this isn't a beg for help, but I really would appreciate if you went and had a look at the membership for Indie Bites. I'm going to be pushing the membership a lot to try and make some sort of sustainable recurring income for Indie Bites. And as I said, there's some great episodes coming. Justin Jackson is the one that I'm probably most excited for. And another really interesting thing about this time off is that I have been making YouTube videos about my motorbike on a channel called Monkeying Around. They've been getting decent views. I've been spending hours and hours making these YouTube videos. And I'm thinking to myself, why is that happening? Why is it when I was doing the YouTube videos for a client, for someone else, was I finding it so much of a challenge? But making YouTube videos for myself, for my own interest, is a literal hobby. I spent 5 hours the other night editing a video and completely lost track of time. I was just stuck in the edit, just being creative, producing a really cool film. I'll leave a link in the show notes for those if you're interested to see them. And that's when I sort of came to a realization that I wasn't the problem with these videos. It was much deeper, to do with basically having the creativity squeezed out of me and being given constraints, being micromanaged. These sort of things that I didn't realise because I really wanted to make it work. I kept telling myself, oh, it's YouTube videos, you should enjoy it, it's what you love, it's your passion, just keep pushing through, it'll click at some point. But it was never going to. It really wasn't. What's next for me? Well, again, I've had this time to think and plan and figure out where I want to go next. I will be continuing Indie Bites. I think that's the first thing I'm going to get back to doing, because I absolutely love speaking to these entrepreneurs who have started their companies, who have inspiring stories, and I want to bring it to everyone else in these short 15-minute episodes. And there is the opportunity for me at some point to turn this into potentially a full-time income. That's going to come from growing the download numbers, so I'm able to increase the sponsorship price, and also the memberships, which are currently at £4 a month. And I'm going to increase that price at the start of June to probably £6 or £7, just so I can maybe get a bit of income from it. And on that feed, I'm going to be releasing pre-chats that I have with guests, which are usually quite interesting and insightful, because that's me just getting to know a guest. The extended editions, when I maybe speak to someone for an hour and edit that down into 15 minutes. Any other ideas you have for the membership feed, please do let me know. As for my situation, I'm not too sure whether I'm going to continue the YouTube videos with Riverside or if I want to do YouTube videos at all, because it is a lot of work, and if I'm doing it as a contractor, it's going to be a struggle to take that time off and still provide for myself and pay my bills. So I'm sort of looking around for some different opportunities of what I want to do for work. Maybe it's marketing specific, maybe it's doing a few more podcasts, but I'll be looking around and trying to figure that out. I'm also going to be riding my bike a lot, trying to be kinder to myself, trying to notice when these things happen, speaking to many people, going to the pub as much as possible, and trying to make sure this doesn't happen again. But lots of people have been going through this. I'm certainly not the only one. If you're feeling unmotivated, low, take a break, take some time off, do writing, record a solo podcast, even if you're going to publish it or not, to just try and figure out what's going wrong. The Indie Hacker community are the kindest, loving, most supportive group of people, and they'll be out to help you. This episode is sponsored by no one, so I'm going to go off now, enjoy my weekend, probably go ride my motorbike a bunch more. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any thoughts, words of wisdom, advice, Twitter is probably the best place to get me, or my email is fine. So on Twitter, @JMcKinven, and the email is james@mckinven.co. Links for those will be in the show notes. All right, have a great day. Speak soon. More episodes coming in the next couple of weeks.